Hi, good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jessica Lim and you're watching Updates at Noon, making the headlines today. Special task force established to tackle diesel subsidy leakages. Government to focus on youth involvement in agriculture sector. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Fadillah Yusof assured that the issues related to the Malaysia Agreement 1963 or MA63 will be resolved in a collaborative and inclusive manner to benefit both Sabah and Sarawak. He said although he is from Sarawak, it does not mean that the resolution would be to the state's advantage, as he is Deputy Prime Minister not only for Sarawak but for all. Now, Datuk Sri Fadillah, who is responsible in ensuring that the outstanding issues concerning the MA63 are resolved, said the implementation of Sabah and Sarawak's demands, which were different, also involve agencies from the federal and state governments. The two states have different backgrounds. The laws in both states are different, which is why the outcome of the implementation will not depend on the existing leader's position. Explaining on matters in MA63 that have yet to be implemented, even though the agreement was signed in 1963, Datuk Sri Fadillah said it involved an annex that contained findings and recommendations by the Intergovernmental Committee, or the IGC. Admitting that his appointment to bear the responsibility is a start for national integration, Datuk Sri Fadillah added that it is also a way forward. The nation may stand to benefit from the current political situation and the bigger demands from Sabah and Sarawak for inclusiveness. KPDN has established a task force led by its Secretary General, Dato' Azman Muhammad Yusof, to manage diesel subsidy leakages, which have cost the country almost 10 billion ringgit. Now, Minister Datuk Sri Salahuddin Ayub said the instruction had been issued last month for the team to act immediately to prevent more leakages. KPDN currently has 2,100 enforcement officers who will answer the call to eradicate subsidized diesel leakages nationwide. Minister Datuk Sri Salahuddin said for the past month, the ministry has been actively carrying out enforcement operations and patrols, especially in rural areas, including in Sabah and Sarawak. Operations have been made such as Ops Terja, which was also not only to manage subsidized diesel leakages, but also subsidized cooking oil and eggs. When asked whether KPDN will tighten the procedure for obtaining diesel subsidies, Datuk Sri Salahuddin said his ministry would conduct an in-depth investigation into the leakage issue before making any decision. Now, youngsters involved in the farming industry will be aided with additional funds if needed to help them expand their businesses. The reassurance was given by the Agriculture and Food Security Minister, Datuk Sri Muhammad Sabu. He said the ministry is always ready to give a helping hand and encourage the younger generation to dabble in agricultural sectors, and working capital would also be provided.
Hanya sebarang anak muda yang nak terlibat ataupun dah terlibat tapi kekurangan modal dan sebagainya, kita akan usaha membantu supaya bukan lagi hal perladangan ini, kerja-kerja pertanian ini kerja sambilan, tapi ada kerja yang memberi manfaat kepada diri, keluarga, masyarakat dan semuanya.
He said this after officiating the agro-tourism and agro-youth tour in Kota Lama. Meanwhile, Datuk Sri Muhammad is confident that the issues surrounding the supply of chicken and eggs can be settled after the government relaxed permits to take in workers in fields. He believes the issue can be overcome after the intake of almost 200,000 workers involved in the farming and agricultural sector. The Home Ministry, KDN, has approved the applications of 380,000 foreign workers under a plan to facilitate the hiring of workers to meet the country's economic needs in the post-pandemic period. Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail said the ministry implemented the plan based on Bank Negara's recommendation to ease the conditions for hiring foreign workers. This relaxation is given in several critical sectors like plantation, agriculture, manufacturing and services.
Tapi prinsip pengambilan pekerja asing di bawah kerajaan baru sekarang adalah kita akan kurangkan migrant cost pekerja asing, kos untuk pengambilan pekerja asing, dan kita akan speed up the approval process. Itu komitmen kita. Ini akan guided. Dan yang ketiga adalah kita akan go digital. Supply and demand. Okay? Yep. Ini adalah fungsinya.
Under the first phase of the plan, industry players needed to hire up to 518,000 foreign workers. Datuk Sri Saifuddin said this was important for the country's economy, which is expected to grow at 4.5%, as stated in Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim's Budget 2023 speech. The Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission, or MCMC, will continue to be committed to empowering connectivity and strengthening the country's digital ecosystem across industries and for all Malaysians. Now, in a statement following the tabling of Budget 2023, MCMC said that the empowerment efforts include the National Digital Network Plan, or JENDELA, the implementation of 5G services, and the Internet Access Initiative for Homes under the People's Housing Project, or PPR scheme. Also given priority is the empowerment of small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, through the Digital Economy Centre, PEDI, the allocation of the SME Digitalisation Grant Scheme, and efforts to combat scams through the National Scam Response Centre, NSRC. Now, MCMC welcomes Communications and Digital Minister Fahmi Fazil's mandate in prioritising internet facilities for the people and realising the golden decade of the digital economy following the presentation of Budget 2023. By the end of 2025, JENDELA aspires to expand gigabyte access for fixed-line broadband to 9 million premises, for 100% of populated areas to have internet coverage, and to achieve an average mobile broadband speed of 100 Mbps. JENDELA Phase 2 will focus on providing internet coverage for the remaining 3% of the population, expanding gigabyte access for fixed-line broadband to 9 million premises nationwide. The Unity Government is highly keen on efforts regarding development based on Islamic values. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department of Religious Affairs, Datuk Dr. Muhammad Naim Mokhtar, in his statement said this was evident from the 1.5 billion ringgit allocated in Budget 2023. In acknowledging the efforts of the Murabbi, who have constantly been striving to preach Islamic teachings in the country in line with the concept of Malaysia Madani, the government has agreed to increase the allowance of 35,000 kafah teachers by 100 ringgit. Now, furthermore, an additional 40 million ringgit in funds will be given to some 70,000 imam, muezzin, mosque assistants, kafah teachers and takmir teachers nationwide. Datuk Dr. Muhammad Naim said the department is determined to redouble its efforts in ensuring Islamic institutions in this country continue to practice good governance and uphold the principle of integrity. Coming up, Selangor to expand Smart Sewa scheme. The Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, or MOTAC, will propose for additional allocation to help tourism agencies promote tourism products in the country. Minister Datuk Sri Tiong King Sing said the further boost is necessary to accelerate the sector. Datuk Sri Tiong said he was aware of the industry players' woes in supporting the tourism industry.
Tahun ini kita dapat 275 juta untuk kerang sama promotion sama itu apa kebudayaan itu semua. Memanglah dalam kita sekarang ada tahun 2025 we are launching the PC Malaysia year. Memang dalam masa sekarang memang negara kita adalah negara Perdana Menteri kita mau cimak sikit peruntukan untuk recovery kita punya dalam masa COVID punya expenditure. Walau bagaimanapun, I will take the time to sit down with Prime Minister. Kita go through lagi. Memanglah sebelum itu kita expect to have bigger peruntukan. But as I say, walau bagaimanapun, we find the direction and then we find the way to discuss with PM again. Yeah, especially he's the Prime Minister also. Macam mana boleh dapat pertambahan.
He said this to reporters during the launch of a tourism event at Dataran Merdeka, Kuala Lumpur. Now, Perak will host the National Journalist Day or Hawana 2023 celebration from the 27th until the 29th of May. Menteri Besar Datuk Sri Saarani Mohamad said the Perak State Government will organise various interesting carnival programs involving various entrepreneurial and tourism agencies in the state that will promote their products.
Saya minta Yang Amat Sultan Negeri akan bersama-sama dengan mereka untuk menjadi urusia bersama. InsyaAllah kita akan cuba menjayakannya dan dipahamkan Yang Amat Menteri akan hadir pada malam akhir, pada malam jamuan makan malam.
The Hawana 2023 event in the state would see the participation of thousands of media practitioners from within the country and abroad. The event would provide media practitioners from the Southeast Asian region to meet and exchange ideas in a friendly environment. Now, Selangor is planning to expand their Smart Sewa scheme to help more people have their own homes. Is Menteri Besar Datuk Sri Amiruddin Syari said in the near future, the state government will meet with the Ministry of Local Government Development or KPKT to further discuss the matter.
Saya akan bincang dengan KPKT untuk menilai semula perumahan-perumahan mereka di sini supaya sistem smart sewa yang kita adakan ini boleh kita lanjutkan dan dikembangkan di perumahan-perumahan kos rendah yang lain, kerana terbukti dengan hampir 1,000 rumah ni kutipannya baik, kadar servis kepada penduduk juga baik, daripada segi kemudahan penduduk juga dapat dijaga kerana maintenance fee-nya dapat dijamin.
He said this after officiating the #Kita Selangor program in Gombak. So far, the Smart Sewa scheme involves 1,000 houses, of which 800 families have already participated in the program. In our foreign segment, Malaysia strongly condemns Israeli occupation forces' attack in Nablus. Now, Malaysia has strongly condemned the attack by the Israeli occupation forces in Nablus on Wednesday, killing at least 11 Palestinians and injuring more than 100 others. Wisma Putra, in a statement on Saturday, said such heinous acts clearly constitute crimes against humanity, and those responsible must be held accountable. Malaysia called upon the international community to stop turning a blind eye to incessant violence and brutality perpetrated by the forces of the Israeli regime in the occupied Palestinian territory. Wisma Putra said the United Nations Security Council, in particular, must live up to its charter-mandated responsibility, as Palestinians too deserve peace, security and justice. Malaysia also stands firm in its unwavering support for the Palestinians who rightfully deserve their independent state based on pre-1967 borders with East Jerusalem as its capital, said Wisma Putra. In an attack on Wednesday, Israeli forces targeted a house in the old city of Nablus and also attacked Palestinians that were protesting the raid with bullets and tear gas. Among the victims of the raid were a 66-year-old man and a minor. According to the Palestinian Health Ministry, since the start of 2023, Israeli forces have killed 62 Palestinians. Meanwhile, Palestinians reported on Saturday that Israeli settlers attacked homes and set cars ablaze in the village of Burin near Nablus. The Palestinian Red Crescent reported that one person was injured by the settlers' stone throwing and taken to Rafidia Hospital in Nablus. A researcher for the rights group Yesh Din reported that some 8 to 12 Israeli settlers came from the Givat Ronan outpost and threw stones at one of the homes on the outskirts of the village before being removed from the area by authorities. They then walked to Burin and were joined by others until a group of about 30 Israeli settlers passed by homes and threw stones at houses and cars, set 2 cars on fire, and attacked Palestinians who tried to force them out and protect their property. The security guards of the nearby settlements of Har Braka and Yitzhar arrived and blocked the roads, which kept Palestinian firefighters from putting out the blaze. According to the authorities, several Israeli settlers arrived in the area and clashes began between them and Palestinian residents of Burin. The residents claim that Israeli soldiers used smoke grenades and tear gas to disperse the local Palestinians, while they did not prevent settlers from throwing stones. On Friday, the Palestinian Health Ministry said 2 Palestinians were shot and seriously wounded by settlers also near Nablus. Now, after a father and daughter were diagnosed with bird flu, officials in Cambodia scrambled to test nearly a dozen of their contacts for infection on the H5N1 virus, which has been causing mass die-offs of birds worldwide. The daughter, an 11-year-old, has died, but the World Health Organization said that 11 contacts have so far tested negative for the infection. Cambodian authorities said the father was infected with a viral variant that is endemic in the country and unrelated to the outbreaks in birds in the United States and Europe. According to the Health Ministry, the 49-year-old was not showing any symptoms. While hundreds of human cases have occurred over the years, scientists have become increasingly concerned that the virus one day may become adapted to people. Now, any evidence of human-to-human transmission would accelerate worries that a new pandemic could be on the way. Now, most experts believe that the cases in Cambodia were likely caused by direct exposure to infected birds. At the moment, experts say that the risk to most people remains low. The G20 finance ministers failed on Saturday to agree a joint statement on the global economy at talks in India after China sought to water down references to the Ukraine war. Instead, current G20 President India issued a chair summary which said most members strongly condemned the war in Ukraine and that they were different assessments of the situation and sanctions at the 2-day meeting in Bengaluru. A footnote said 2 paragraphs in the summary about the war, which it said were adapted from the G20 Bali leaders' declaration in November, were agreed to by all member countries except Russia and China. Now, Spain's representative Nadia Calviño had said earlier that because of less constructive approaches by some unspecified countries at the talks among the world's top 20 economies, agreeing on a statement was difficult. Now, previous meetings of G20 finance ministers and central bank chiefs have also failed to produce a common communique since Russia, a member of the grouping, invaded its neighbor last February. Senior Indian official Ajay Seth said the Chinese and Russian representatives did not want to sign up to the wording on Ukraine because their mandate is to deal with economic and financial issues. Now, Nigerians voted on Saturday for a successor to President Muhammadu Buhari in a tight race with 3 front-runners competing for the first time in the country's modern history. Nearly 90 million people are eligible to vote, with many Nigerians saying they hope the new leader of Africa's most populous democracy would tackle a security crisis, the sluggish economy and widening poverty. For the first time since the end of military rule in 1999, a third serious candidate has emerged to challenge the dominance of Buhari's ruling All Progressives Congress, or APC, and main opposition People's Democratic Party, or PDP. Buhari, a former army commander, steps down after 2 terms in office, with many critics saying he failed in his promises to make Nigeria a safer and less corrupt country. The success of Saturday's election will be closely watched after West Africa's democratic credentials took a knock from coups in Burkina Faso and Mali. Coming up in sport, Kuala Lumpur wastes chance to claim victory against Penang. Former top national men's doubles shuttler Tan Boon Hyung is keeping his fingers crossed that at least 2 national men's doubles pairs will qualify for the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. Now, the 2010 World Championship silver medalist said that the 2022 World Champion Aaron Chia and So Woo Yik and 2021 World Champions bronze medalists Ong Yu Sin and Teo Yi stand a good chance of qualifying for the world's biggest games based on their performances in several tournaments.
I think ini 3 pair, 4 pair untuk fight lah. Untuk fight lah. Kita harap first and second pair boleh masuk qualify untuk Olimpik lah. So lebih senang lah. Sebab kalau 1 pair macam lebih susah lah. Sebab kalau macam Indonesia dia 2 pair, 2 pair kan maksimum. So macam kita 1 pair, on paper kita tak advantage kan. So saya pun harap kita punya match double boleh dapat masuk 2 pair lah.
Based on the Olympic qualifying format, each country can be represented by a maximum of 2 doubles pair, provided both pairs are ranked in the top 8 of the 2024 Olympic Games qualifiers, which begin on the 1st of May. Now, based on the latest Badminton World Federation, or BWF ranking, Aaron and Woo Yik are in 2nd spot, while Yu Sin and Yi are in 8th position in the world. Moving on to football, 10-man Penang FC needed a dramatic 85th minute equaliser to complete a magnificent comeback from 2-0 down to hold Asian Football Confederation, or AFC Cup runners-up Kuala Lumpur City FC to a 2-2 draw in the opening Super League match last night. The City boys enjoyed a perfect start at the Kuala Lumpur Football Stadium in Cheras when skipper Paulo Jusui, their latest naturalised player, scored the first goal with a wonderfully taken free kick. A goal down, Penang then found themselves a man down when referee Tuan Muhammad Yassin Tuan Muhammad Hanafia sent off defender A. Namathevan for a second yellow card offence in the 58th minute. The Brazilian-born Josue capitalised on their numerical advantage to put KL City 2-0 up with a pile driver in the 71st minute. Now, just when it looked like the City boys were coasting to victory, Penang suddenly burst into life with Mohamed Hadin Azman narrowing the deficit in the 73rd minute before their Brazilian import Giovanni Gomez finished off a cross from Faris Shahrosli in the 85th minute for a well-deserved point away from home. Meanwhile, in the Northern Derby at the Perak Stadium in Ipoh, Kedah Darul Aman, or KDAFC, showed no mercy en route to a comprehensive 4-1 drubbing of home team Perak FC, who had 2 players sent off. Although it was the home team who opened the scoring through Muhammad Ikhwan Hafizo after just 4 minutes, Kedah slowly but surely got back into the game and found the equaliser through Lee Tak in the 21st minute. Perak ended the first half with 10 players when referee Zulkarnain Zakaria sent defender Ahmad Haziq Ahmad Puat off the field in the 36th minute for a foul on Amir Bek Jurabov. Now, with Perak a man down, the visitors, nicknamed the Canaries, were on song as they edged ahead with a goal by William Sousa in the 67th minute. Perak suffered another body blow in the 78th minute when their foreign signing Sunday Afolabi was red-carded for a foul on Manuel Hidalgo. With Perak now down to 9 men, the Canaries were in full flow, scoring 2 more goals through Muhammad Arif Farhan in the 84th minute and Jonathan Dos Reis at the stroke of full time. Meanwhile, Sadil Ramdhani inspired Sabah FC to a 4-0 victory over PDRM FC with 2 goals and an assist at the Lika Stadium in Kota Kinabalu. The 24-year-old Indonesian put the Rhinos 1-0 up in the 13th minute before floating in a cross for South Korean Park Tae-soo to head home goal number 2 in the 37th minute. Coach Ong Kim Sui's Rhinos were not done yet though, as Sadil notched his second and his team's third goal off a swift counter-attack in the 71st minute before Stuart Wilkin wrapped up the proceedings with goal number 4 in injury time. Earlier in Kota Baru, Kelantan were narrowly edged by Kuching City. Kuching City marked their debut in the top tier with a stunning 2-1 win over Kelantan FC at the Sultan Muhammad IV Stadium in Kota Baru. Although Kelantan opened the scoring first through Miguel Angel Cifuentes in the 52nd minute, Kuching City got their first Super League win after Sudi Abdullah and Abu Kamara were on target in the 59th and 72nd minutes, respectively. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo continued his scintillating form for Al Nassr after scoring a first-half hat-trick in a 3-0 win over Denmark in the Saudi Pro League yesterday. Now, those 3 first-half goals were enough for Al Nassr to move Rudy Garcia's side 2 points clear at the top of the table. Ronaldo broke the deadlock in the 18th minute after powering home a penalty into the top corner before doubling his side's advantage with a clinical long-range effort. He completed his treble shortly before the half-time whistle in a move instigated by Abdurrahman Garib, who switched play and allowed the ball to be passed to Ronaldo, who netted the 62nd hat-trick of his career. The 38-year-old has now scored 8 goals in just 6 appearances for the club, after managing to score 4 times in a 4-0 win over Al Wehda, which also included his 500th league goal. Saturday's hat-trick follows on from Ronaldo's 2 assists in a 2-1 win over Al Ta'awun, meaning the Portugal captain now have 10 goal involvements in his last 4 appearances for the Saudi side. And that's it for updates at noon. Our top story, special task force established to tackle diesel subsidy leakages. We leave you with visuals of giant inflatable sea creatures and cartoon characters hovered above a field as kite enthusiasts from around the world congregated at the 25th Pasir Gudang World Kite Festival. The 5-day festival returned to Johor after a 3-year pandemic pause. I'm Jessica Lee. Thank you for joining us.